Great.
Mike,
Wait, before we get started, what about am I supposed to find my script from before? I was thinking it would be sitting here.
Under announcements?
Yeah.
For the public?
No, for the closed session.
For the closed session, okay.
I get it for you.
Okay, thank you.
We can go ahead and get started, though.
Does it match up to what we've already agreed on?
Just the email, yes.
Give it a second. Okay, I'm good. I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yep. All right. Good to go? Up and running? Hot mic?
Yep.
All right. Good deal. Everybody, the vast studio audience, as well as all the people watching us on various media. It's May 20th, 2024, a Monday. You're at the Poolesville Town Commissioners meeting, starting promptly once again at 7 p.m. We have behind the desk are Martin, Jeff, Ed, myself. Sarah is coming in from West Virginia. Thanks, Sarah, for making the time. Appreciate it. Very good. We also have Niles, Town Manager Wade Yost, Town Engineer John Strong, various members of the studio audience. Jeff, if you could lead us in the Pledge of
Yes.
Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, very good. Before we get into the rest of the agenda for tonight, appropriate time, gents?
Yes.
Okay, very good. We have, as the public is aware, and by the way, I'm reading this off my phone because this is a statement that we crafted over the last week or so. As the public is aware, last year a computer crime occurred where the town was targeted and funds related to the wastewater treatment plant were fraudulently taken by an outside third party. This matter was and is being investigated by the Montgomery County Police and the United States Secret Service. For those of you that were in the audience when we talked about this earlier this year, this is a continuation of that conversation. Their investigation has discovered no wrongdoing by anyone involved with the town, and further, their actions have assisted in recovering part of the fraudulently taken funds. However, the commissioners believe that every effort should be made to pursue the return of the remainder of the taken funds. To that end, the commissioners decided to begin a phased approach to potential litigation against the parties involved. We realize that we do not want to spend more money chasing the lost money with no hope of return, but we believe that taking this phased approach makes the most business and practical sense for recovery. We intend to keep the public informed to the extent we can without jeopardizing the ongoing police investigation and the legal undertakings. This is a report on the closed session that we had prior to our last meeting, which was our first meeting in May. That's what we have on that, and I just want to let the public know that, and we'll go from there. Commissioners' reports, and I don't know who's ready first, but...
I have several things if...
Yeah, Jeff, it's all you then.
Thank you. The Upper Montgomery Volunteer Fire Department had its first pork and beef sale for the year. It went quite well, although the weather was rather wet and damp. The next one is scheduled for June the 8th, starting at 11 a.m. I'm working on dates for, along with Kathy Buck, for the to do a CPR and AED training for the summer camp counselors. So I'll just need to email Kathy that we have June the 10th. That was one of the dates that Kathy suggested. And then we would like to start as early as possible, 4:30.
Yeah, that should be
Ish.
fine. 4:30 is fine.
I attended the HMD, that's the Historic Medley District, anniversary dinner on May the 9th, and I think it was really a super turnout. It looked like it was sold out. Every table was full. And I really need to congratulate Maureen O'Connell. Did Knight call her, like a bundle of energy or something? Or
Something like
what
that.
was the word? Yeah, like the wind-up bunny or something like that, anyway. And Knight Kiplinger himself on such a fantastic event. Also, the Poolesville Area Chamber of Commerce is having a gathering at Windridge on, this Wednesday, I think, yeah, on May the 22nd at 5 p.m. So hopefully the Chamber of Commerce members have already signed up for that. And we'll be attending the ZTA, although I forgot what the ZTA stands for.
Zoning text appeal.
Oh, thank you, thanks, amendment. Discussion, and that's the discussion regarding temporary outdoor stays in the Ag Reserve, and that's on May the 29th. Just a couple of other things as well. You can register on the Poolesvilleseniors.org website for a presentation on the building of the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to see that. It is quite gorgeous and certainly very impressive and certainly very appropriate for the service that that generation provided. There'll also be on May the 30th, which is coming up, at 2 o'clock, a demonstration on floral arrangements by Stephanie Egley. And kind of also related, World War II related, on May 25th, 1940, what is often referred to as the Miracle of Dunkirk, where many troops mostly from England and France, were heroically rescued off the beaches at Dunkirk in France. And that is a presentation also being made by the Poolesville Seniors Organization. So you can register for that on their website. And I do believe that's it for the announcements.
Keep going. Got your Parks Board?
No, the Parks Board meeting is coming up this week. So it hasn't,
The first week in June.
what's that?
It'll be the first week in June.
Yes, exactly. Yes, yeah, first week of June, thanks.
Quiz for whoever's here. What's on the agenda?
We'll probably be talking about sidewalks more. We're actually going to meet and go to Tama 1 and look through the sidewalks there, sidewalk priority, so we'll meet that before the meeting begins. It's regular meeting time.
Trails Working Group?
We'll talk about the Trails Working Group some more, and get all firm on who's going to be on that. That's one of the things we're working on. And then, I think those are the main things. I'm trying to think of anything else that came out of it, but those are the two main topics.
Great. Okay, thank you for that. Very good. Is that it, Jeff?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Martin?
Yeah, so the Planning Commission met last Wednesday. We had a relatively full agenda. We talked about the Poolesville Crossing PIA. That's also, you may know that as the Donegan property. And we recommended the PIA unanimously. We discussed the Forest Conservation Ordinance, which I think we're going to discuss tonight. It was recommended, again, unanimously to be approved to come to this board. We recommended unanimously, or approved unanimously, the planning annual report. And that was all new business. For old business, we had a follow-up discussion on the cultural and historical arts district, and I think we came to the conclusion that that should probably be called the Arts District and not the Historical Arts District. Mm-hmm. We adjusted the boundaries a little bit and really had a really productive conversation, I thought, about what kind of businesses should be included and, where the boundaries should be and so forth. And that's going to be, we're going to revisit that again at the next meeting. We're not really, I don't think we're close to having the zoning ready for that, but we're not far off either, I wouldn't imagine. And as you know, we're going to look at the zoning for everywhere in town, just go over it and, see if there's anything that needs to be changed or anything worth addressing. So this is where we started, so. And that's all I have.
What does PIA stand for?
Public Improvement Agreement.
Public Improvement Agreement?
Yeah, it's like the utilities and stuff.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Martin. Appreciate that. Very good. Ed?
All right, you want to get Sarah? We just keep...
No, I was going to give Sarah, I was going to get back to her. Because I
Okay.
know you guys usually go in order of you and then her, so.
Yeah. So, sure. All right. So, a couple of things. In terms of Sustainable Poolesville, we will have our meeting this Wednesday. On the agenda, we'll talk about the recertification, Picking Up Poolesville, Zero Waste Box, and composting. We'll be going over the results from the survey. So that will happen this Wednesday. And then just some announcements. If you guys are interested in going to the Montgomery County Chamber Conference dinner, it's gonna be, I sent you all an email, but that's June 5th, but I need to let me know so I can RSVP if you want to go or not. It's a nice event to go out there, represent Poolesville. I'll be there on June 14th.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but is
That's
that,
okay.
that's different than the event at Aloft during?
Yes, that's different. That's June 24th on a Monday. That's that Maryland Municipal League for
That's
Montgomery
at the
County
conference.
chapter.
Okay, okay.
That's at the conference. So the one that I'm talking about on June 5th, that's going to be at the Bethesda Marriott. And so and that's sponsored by the Montgomery County chapter of the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yep, so you'll have that
Okay,
there.
nice.
And then on June 14th, if you're interested, let me know. I've agreed to host a show for Montgomery County Media, is the Small Business Network. And so I'll be doing the first one is a kickoff one on June 14th. Andrew Friedson is going to be my guest. So we'll be talking about ways for businesses, small businesses, to access resources in Montgomery County.
Oh,
So
that's
we'll
great,
have
yeah.
Andrew and then another person named Kelly Leonard, who was the former host. So that's Friday, June 14th. There's networking. It starts at about 8 o'clock. Then we'll start the show at 9, wrap up at 9:30. If you're interested, let me know, and I'll put you on the list to attend.
Oh, that's great, thank you.
So, yeah, and then I'll have Sarah talk about fair access. If there's anything that she leaves out, then I'll dive in.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Sarah?
Yeah. Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I mean, first big, huge announcement is that we had finally the final vote for the funding for the community center with the healthcare clinic in it, and also funding passed for WUMCO and the healthcare work that they're doing. So 2 huge major accomplishments for the upper western Montgomery County area and Poolesville and Fair Access Committee and everybody who's been involved. I think it's been a huge community push, and it's been really rewarding and fantastic to see that move forward. And then last Thursday, Fair Access did something they've never done before, and we hosted a listening session, and we had representatives of various organizations as well as just residents representing their own thoughts and observations. And we're in the process of kind of compiling the highlights from all of the feedback that we got, that we will be passing on to the commissioners once we've had a chance to kind of discuss as a Fair Access Committee about kind of what we heard and compile some notes from that.
Great. More coming?
Yep, we're coming. That's it for Fair Access.
Okay, very good. Ed, any blanks to fill in there, buddy?
I just echo what Sarah already said. We had a really great turnout with our listening session, and so we're moving in a great direction. So one of the things we'll be doing Fair Access also is starting to plan for the VIP breakfast in September for Poolesville Day, and so that will be right around the corner. So we have good things happening.
Great. Okay, good. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it. So we had and by the way, that meeting, that listening session you guys had is available on YouTube. So people can watch and catch up on what was actually said during that meeting. And I'm sure kick comments back to the Fair Access Committee as well for action items. So appreciate that. Nice job, Fair Access. Obviously, big successes on our community/rec center, the wellness aspect of it, as well as the funding for the wellness. More huge gains for Poolesville, thanks to everybody's hard work. So that's awesome.
Doing good.
Oh, there he is right there. He's on it.
Working on the dimensions and everything, so I'll get
Sorry,
you-
guys. All right, so, this is an interesting time. I wanted to talk about something that took place last Friday, and it was a courtesy of our American Legion here in Poolesville. There was an event that came together rather quickly to honor 98-year-old Richard Gunny Remp, who lived on Dowden Circle in Poolesville. So Gunny was a guy that if you've driven around Poolesville, which I happen to do for a living, you would see Gunny in his driveway, 98 years old, waving at people that went by, a full grouping of flags, including the Marine Corps flag. And it was learned that he was in hospice earlier in the week, and our American Legion, led by Julian Singh, as well as former Poolesville guidance counselor Jim Capicelli, two really dynamic people that are looking out for our veterans and provide great leadership, as well as Annette Howard and others. I don't want to shortchange anybody in the American Legion. Jerry, I don't want to shortchange anybody. They've done an unbelievable job. They got together after hearing that Gunny Remp did not get his high school diploma because he left high school early in order to enlist. He fought in World War II, he fought in Korea, he fought in Vietnam, and survived it all, and did good work, and was recognized for his good work as a soldier. Amazing story. He left at 17. He never got his high school diploma. And I'm going to read the rest of this from a news story that was put out for it, but you'll see more of this on Facebook as other groups are going to be talking about it. But on Friday, he was finally handed the high school diploma he had longed for all these years but never received. He told an NBC affiliate, "On behalf of myself and the Marine Corps, I thank you very much for what you have done for me. I'll never forget this. How could I with all these good people around me? I'm really happy." This was on Friday. Known affectionately as Gunny for his role as a gunnery sergeant in Vietnam, Remp found himself in hospice care at home after doctors diagnosed him with stage 4 cancer following a recent fall. Determined to fulfill Remp's lifelong wish, his family and friends at the nearby American Legion Post 247 devised a plan to secure his high school diploma. They reached out to Remp's original school district in Sharon, Pennsylvania, a little over an hour north of Pennsylvania, but the school was unable to get the job done in time. But after hearing his story, Superintendent Justy Glaros, and that didn't spell her name right, but of a neighboring district, arranged for the diploma to be approved and printed. She then, along with a fellow school member, took the 4.5-hour journey to personally deliver the diploma to Remp's bedside on Friday. The American Legion was nice enough to contact me on the fly on Friday so I could be a part of it, and I'll be doing a post on this. But they did an unbelievable presentation for Gunny. And again, this is a lifelong or recently lifelong Poolesville resident. It's a long life at 98. And he was not just lucid, but he was on top of his game. He accepted the diploma. The presentation was amazing. The people got it approved and hopped in their car and drove immediately down here with no stops to get here in time on Friday to make a 3:15-ish deadline to do this presentation. And the presentation was amazing. He was, again, it was reported that this was something that he had been, one of his life's great regrets is he had not graduated from high school in order to serve the country. So he got his high school diploma in an amazing presentation. He was honored by the school itself, the school district itself, and as well as all the people and friends that were there at bedside for him when he was given his diploma. And later on, pizza was bought and some good times were had. And then yesterday, midday, he passed away. So this happened on Friday, and he passed away on Sunday. And everybody was just very thankful to our American Legion for putting this presentation together and for hustling it up. And I can tell you, if you want something done, if you don't want something done, don't call Jim Capicelli, because he was also responsible for the bridge that we had named for a Poolesville youth that was killed, and then bridge over Monocacy for Kirk Bosselman. And he pushed this thing together, and I can tell you personally that Jim was ready to drive to Pittsburgh that morning to make it and get back and do it. So my hat's off to the American Legion, and very appreciative of everybody that put this together. He's going to be laid to rest. Gunny's going to be laid to rest this Thursday, and the details are still going to come out on that. But he's being handled by Hilton Funeral Home. So anyway, amazing time, and talk about just in time, and talk about fulfilling his life switch. Now his son was there, and oddly enough, his son is older than I am, so that felt a little weird to be talking to his boy. And his granddaughter was there, and they're very, very familiar. They're very appreciative of growing up in Poolesville, and appreciative of what the town kind of coming together to do this presentation. So anyway, I'll give you guys more details as I know what's going on, but I plan on going to the funeral on Thursday, and I'll let everybody know, and I'm happy to represent for everybody on that day. And that's all I have for my report. So we've got the public comment section of our meeting. Jerry, I know you're signed up. Are you here for the public comment or anything else? Okay, come on up, sir.
Jerry Klobakowski, 17300 Fletchall Road, Poolesville, Maryland. To continue the vein with the American Legion, which I am a proud member of, at noon on Monday, the 27th of May, the Poolesville American Legion Post 247 will conduct a Memorial Day ceremony. All Poolesville and Western Montgomery County residents are welcome to attend. This ceremony honors the members of the armed forces who gave their lives in the preservation of our country and its freedoms. Now, after that, I'll take the easy one first. The commemorative flag policy, I'm sort of confused on that because, number one, I don't know on the back page what a progress flag is. I'm not sure what that is. And I'm also wondering if this leaves us open to people who will claim that we're violating Freedom of Information Act or not, that First Amendment, their First Amendment rights by not able to fly flags that they would want. I'm sure that will keep Jay busy, or if he's not thought of it already, or if this has been vetted enough to ensure that we don't end up flying a flag that we might regret later on. Because, the views and goals of the town, not everybody in this town has the same views, values, and goals. So that's one thing there. And then the other thing is...
That was the easy one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the forest conservation regulation, or ordinance, excuse me. I just have a question as to why we went from 40,000, well, more than one, 40,000 to 20,000 dollars per square feet. I see that the number of years that the maintenance agreement has increased from 2 to 3, but I'm still not sure why that has decreased. We only have a limited amount of area that's forested in our town, and to give it up cheaply, to me, is not in the town's best interest. And also, I understand too, I don't want somebody who's going to build a single-family home to pay $40,000, so some other, maybe lesser amount should be if they want to contribute something like that to it. And also, on the page 2, section 2, paragraph 2 has a lot of periods in it. Now, I don't know, Are these periods left over from Jay? He didn't know what to say, so he just, he had some extra periods, so he just threw them in to fill in the blanks?
Oh, there was no changes to that section.
Well, there wasn't?
It was just-
Is that what that means? Oh, okay, I wasn't sure. I mean, having looked at recent legal
Really
documents.
small print.
Oh, is that it? Okay, having gone over some legal documents really lately, it's like, I wonder if there's any commas left in the world, but that's another story. So, those are basically my comments,
Let's address that real quick. So Wade, you can give us background, but I think it's
Sure.
something all the
No,
commissioners are up on.
So the 40,000 to 20,000 is not dollars. That is the trigger point when you disturb.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, you
Okay, I'm
disturbed
looking at,
20,000
I'm sorry,
square
I
foot.
think dollars all the time.
There was a 2-0 and a lot of,
Yep.
and a comma. I get it.
Yeah,
So does that,
It's
I mean,
land
that,
disturbance, the amount of, so actually
okay,
it's
no,
more
that's
restricted.
better then, absolutely, my mistake, okay.
that's all right. That's the money is important too. What, was there anything else that you wanted town staff to address in terms?
Well,
of
with
that? I
respect
get
to
the
that, is
cleanup
there a
on it.
sliding scale as to how much? I mean, you're saying that we're gonna put this into reforestation, but is there gonna be some sort of fee for that? And it's
No,
gonna be-
there's no fee. So there's an application fee for just doing a submittal of a plan.
Okay,
That's typically, that doesn't change. What changes is if someone's clearing some land, if they clears 10,000 square foot, no big deal. Used to be, you go up to 40,000 square foot, and you didn't have to then reforest or afforest. Matter of fact, we took the fee in lieu out of it, so you have to forest or reforest, or
right,
afforest.
I understand that part, but I thought maybe there was also a fee involved.
Yeah, and this is all part of the state too. No, we're mimicking the state's code.
All right,
It's update, that's all that it is.
enough, my mistake, I apologize. All right,
It's okay. We're here for clarity, and you help give us clarity too.
Then on the flag concerns, also the flag policy, it was crafted in such a way to try to minimize any potential lawsuits in the future. And Jay, while not super happy with it, he feels this is probably the best mechanism you can put in place to protect yourself if you're going to have this type of activity.
okay, because what is the progress flag?
It's just another style of a pride flag.
Okay. The thing that caught my eye was after that, et cetera. So, it's like, et cetera,
So there could be, yeah, there's so many different flags out there. And once we actually, if this policy goes through, we develop a list, staff will, to bring to the commissioners at that point. I mean, there's, POW
yeah, you got that.
flags. There's all, there's
Black History Month,
Veterans
yeah.
Families History Month. There's just tons of them that are out there, so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jerry.
Appreciate it. Gotcha. Anything for Jerry while you guys are, everybody behind the desk? Anything for Jerry?
Thank you, Jerry.
There you go. Thank you. All right, my motion makers and acceptors, do we have a motion for the approval of the minutes from the May 6th meeting?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes for the May 6th meeting?
Motion made, second?
I'll second his motion.
Second from the seconder? All right, any questions on the minutes? All in favor of approving the minutes for May 6th, 2024, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Did I hear aye out of you, Sarah?
I was saying aye, but I was muted, but aye.
Okay. All right, good enough. Well, we see you have like an enlarged circle when you say something. We just took that to mean, your icon was like an eye, so you're good. All right, very good. So the minutes have been approved 5-0. All right. New business, which we talked about this in our pre-meeting earlier today. It seems weird to talk about the comprehensive plan as being new business. But it's new business in front of the commissioners, at least this phase of it is. So we've got a resolution in front of us, 001-24, the 2024 comprehensive plan. Wade, if you want to give us Niles want to give us some quick background here, and
Sure.
then we'll take it from there.
Now, let's hear the drum roll.
Yep.
Because this is finally being brought to the commissioners. This has been several years in process, a lot of public participation going on. About 90 days ago, this was sent out to state agencies, to the commissioners, to the county, for the planning commission to get feedback, and then they held their own public hearing for it. Everything's been done according to the policy and procedures of the state of Maryland for developing a comprehensive plan. It was approved by the planning commission last month, and now it is here for your approval. You guys get the final stamp of approval on this document. And that's what we're here for tonight.
Very good. So you guys, and again, I know that policy maybe throughout previous years has been, for the most part, we wouldn't approve something on the same night that it's being officially introduced, but here we are. all of us, I think, are very familiar with the comprehensive plan, and the public has vetted it out to the nth degree through the planning commission, public hearings, et cetera. I know there was some feedback from Jeff on this a little bit on, there was some discussion about whether the possibility of a co-op should be actually physically added in, and I'm not sure that we felt like there was any action that needed to be taken on that. And I think that, being that that was one of your questions, if you're satisfied with the positioning of the comp plan now, then I just wanted to make sure that we address anything.
Yes,
that-
very
Okay.
satisfied.
I wanted to make sure that we didn't have anything that was like hanging out there.
Yep.
So, I'm very appreciative of the work that's been done on this by town staff. Wallace Montgomery, seems like forever. We had our meeting out there in the park. The planning commission, I know, has been meeting relatively nonstop on this thing. But we've got a document, and it's an amazing document that's going to bring us forward for the next 10 years. And we'll see who's still here to revise it once that one takes place. Staff, are you guys okay? Anything?
You're good.
Am I doing anything? Sarah, are you have questions on it at all?
No, if you don't mind, I just thought of something.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's, this is maybe it's more for Martin or for Wade, but do we have to incorporate anything in there about the cannabis policy?
Yeah, that's now.
It's already been enacted. I mean, this is not a future plan. That's already happened.
Right, yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, reasonable question. Anything else from anybody else?
I'm good.
Anybody want to make a stab at reading the resolution and bringing us forward with this? You don't have to read the whole thing.
Yeah, I make a motion that we adopt the comprehensive plan resolution 001-24-2024 as written.
The motion has been made to adopt resolution number 001-24 of the 2024 comprehensive plan for the town of Poolesville. Do we have a second?
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Martin, second by Ed. Any questions by the commissioners? All in favor of approval of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Well, that one deserves a gavel.
The champagne should be popped right now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good job.
Way to go, guys. That's a huge undertaking, and you've given us a document that could last well past 10 years. So thank you for that, town staff, everybody. Picking up the ball from already in progress.
Hey, Niles and I both were scratching our heads and kicking, and we
Yeah.
Yep.
it took both of us.
Good teamwork
Oh,
on that
totally.
one, guys.
Good job.
Really look good. So well done, and Planning Commission, please pass our kind words on to the Planning Commission as
I'll do
well.
that.
So we're in awe of the work that they've accomplished, and we know it was a lot of work. All right, very good. Ordinance number 229, the pre-mentioned already forest conservation ordinance. Wade, if you want to lead us off on that one again.
Niles,
All right.
Niles,
so
I'm sorry.
As we sort of mentioned before, the Planning Commission took this up at last week's meeting. I'm going to briefly go over what the changes are. So number one is we updated the language related to the stream restoration projects so that it's defined and how that would impact forest conservation. Second is that solar projects, such as solar arrays and such, are not subject to forest conservation, so that's a change. And then, as we talked about before, the change in the amount of area that's subject to forest conservation, so it goes from 40,000 to 20,000 square feet. And then we had to increase the growing seasons from 2 to 3. We also removed all of the language related to fee in lieu, which is consistent with the policy that was adopted in 2019. And then related to that, we increased the growing season requirement, which is the maintenance season requirement, from 2 to 3 years. Then the last thing is just defining a little bit more clearly forest bank and how it would apply. And that concludes the summary of the information in the ordinance. The action for this body is to set a public hearing for June 3rd.
May I ask a question, Niles? And I could be wrong, I'm just kind of going back in my memory, which is subject to error. But anyway, if I remember right, the Donovan property was fee in lieu?
So no, the Donegan property is actually using the forest bank. So that's how they are providing. their forestation. So they are actually going to do it near Dr. Moore Court. There's about an acre of property that will be forested under their agreement.
So it doesn't have to be on the site where they're building, it could be
Correct.
somewhere else as long as the...
Yes, it's either a forestation on site or forestation in the forest bank.
Well, thank you for helping with that.
But not fee and lieu. That's the
Yeah, right.
walk away from that. Okay, good. Thank you for that. Do you guys have other questions on this?
No, I read it, it's just clear.
Okay, very good.
We need a motion, or can
Sarah?
we just set a public hearing?
We need a motion.
Sarah, you good with this?
Yeah, yep, I am.
All right, I make a motion, we set a public hearing for ordinance number 229, the Forest Conservation Plan,
For what day?
June 3rd.
June 3rd.
There you go. I knew I'd hear it somewhere.
Be there.
Okay, we've got a motion to set up the public hearing for the Town of Poolesville Forest Conservation Plan, ordinance number 229, for June 3rd, the meeting at June 3rd. Do we have a second for that?
Sure, I'll second.
Thank you, guys are on a roll. So, second made by Ed. Any other questions? Again, this is just for the public hearing. All in favor of approval of setting the public hearing for June 3rd, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, good. Public hearing's been set for June 3rd. Appreciate that. Nice work so far on it, guys. We'll see what the public has to say about it, if anything. Old business. Ordinance number 228,
Seems like very old business.
backyard chickens.
Yes. So, we had the public brought it up to us again to revisit some of the issues within the ordinance 224 that was initially adopted. And this board hashed it over a little bit, sent it to the planning commission. Planning commission looked at it, came back with recommendations. This board then had a public hearing on it on May 6th. And what you have is an ordinance right now that has a few changes in it. For the most part, all the public requests were included in it, including setbacks were changed from 100 foot to 50 foot for neighboring dwellings. The required coop size was reduced from 4 foot to 2 foot per square chicken, and allowing up to 10 chickens on lots 1 acre or larger. So those are the proposed changes.
Very good. Appreciate that. Appreciate the work of the planning commission as well as the public for weighing in on this. And considering the fact that it's old business, I think the only thing that we've heard that's in conjecture to this amended ordinance is that there were people potentially looking for more chickens and less than 1 acre. That was the one, I wouldn't call it an objection, I'd call it a proposed amendment. And I believe the recommendation came from the planning commission that that was not necessarily the case or needed at this point. So we have an ordinance in our hands that's been modified. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, just want to clarify, so my understanding regarding the increase in the number of hens was only if the property owner had 1 acre, not less than 1 acre.
Correct. 1 acre
1
or
acre
larger.
or
All
more.
right, okay.
Yep.
So it isn't a blanket 6 to 10, it's,
That's correct.
okay,
Yep. It's under 1 acre is 6 chickens max.
right,
Over 1 acre is 10 chickens max.
yep.
Or somewhere in between. Chicken in every pot. Don't get me started.
Don't get them started.
Okay, commissioners, any other questions on it? Sarah, do you have anything on this?
Nope.
Okay,
Well,
very
can I just
good.
ask, and I think this might be redundant, have there been any complaints?
Right, so as we spoke about before, the only complaints that we've received has been about the placement of the coops itself in relation to the ordinance. So we've received no complaints about just people having chickens or a nuisance from chickens.
So the only issues came up during permitting,
Correct,
not neighbors saying, hey, this is,
correct.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. How many total permits have been awarded?
So it's 9.
9, okay. How many were requested?
9,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought there was one woman who didn't qualify.
She never applied.
Oh,
So she asked before she applied for a permit
okay, swell,
and said, and I told her that it did not fit the requirements at that time.
okay.
She asked if she met the criteria.
Correct.
She didn't ask if she could have a permit. She asked
No,
if she met the criteria.
Correct.
Right, neither applied for nor rejected.
Yep.
Just informed.
Informed, yes.
Thank God the great Poolesville chicken civil war never materialized. If everyone's ready, I'll make a motion.
I'm ready for
I
you.
make a motion, we approve ordinance number 228, the backyard chicken ordinance.
All right, I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made by Martin, second by Ed, regarding this year's edition of the chicken ordinance, number 228. All those in favor of approving the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
None?
I
Oh,
want to note, I just want to mention that I'm changing my vote from no to yes, because this turned out to be a tempest in a teapot. Only 9 people, you know what that means? Anyway, only 9 people requested, only 9 permits were given, so it's kind of a non-issue.
Non-issue, and I just want to clarify, your vote was yes in favor of the...
Oh, yeah, correct.
Okay, very
Oh,
good.
yes, yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you for the
Talking about his
clarification.
old vote.
Oh, I understand, right. I just want to double check for the public, that's all.
Fair enough.
Chicken in every meeting. All right, very good. So, thank you for that. That's an approval, and I appreciate that. Again, the work of town staff, planning commission, et cetera. Good job. Ready to move forward, and we'll end of chicken jokes for a few meetings at least. I'll do the best I
That's the
can with
best
it.
part about this.
That's right. It has been the best
Puns.
part.
Until
yeah.
you won 12. All right.
Yeah, right, exactly. Thank you for that. It's just making me hungry. All right, the commemorative flag policy. Since Sarah brought this up in the last go-round. But Sarah, before we turn to you, I'm going to let town staff do a little setup for this. Town staff, give it to us.
Sure. So at the last meeting, Sarah brought up the issue of having a flag policy in place for public displays. And we had talked about it for a little bit before and had Jay weigh in on it. So staff developed a policy, and it's just a general policy, and it creates an authorization for the displays that third parties cannot come in and request a flag to be flown, but town staff will actually work with commissioners, or an individual commissioner can request a flag at the beginning of the year and basically set up the full year of how or what type of flag would be flown. And it's supposed to represent basically what the important issues are for the town itself and be inclusive. This draft display policy also has using the Poolesville flagpole as part of the draft for it, and then and it has sizes, and it has the days, and how long that it can be flown, and it gives a sample of a few of typical types of flags that are flown that are this type of non-governmental flags. So that's what we have, a draft in front of us now to discuss.
Got it. Thank you, town staff, for putting that together. I think it's a good starting point. Sarah, you want to take it from here?
Sure. Just first of all, thank you so much, Wade and Niles. I think it's a fantastic draft policy. I think it hits all of the important points. I think it provides Poolesville as a town an opportunity to show some leadership and signal what I think is already happening, which is that we are a very welcoming town. We want to be a welcoming town. We want people to be to feel safe and respected, and especially our youth. And so I think this is in alignment with our community's values, and I would love to see them displayed there next to the Poolesville Town flag.
Thanks, Sarah. And, I will say this, appreciate Sarah and I have had off and on conversations about this for the last 6-7 months. And I appreciate you bringing it to the commissioners formally and allowing town staff to create some sort of draft policy. And the goal, I think, from all of us behind the table here, town staff as well, has been to try to make sure that we create, in any policy that we create, that having it be inclusive, having it doing what we can do to make our residents feel welcome. We've taken some pretty big leaps over the years, and we'll continue to take leaps, as far as I'm concerned, in order to make sure that every single resident feels like they belong and that Poolesville is their place. So with that, I thank you for coming up with the policy. I kind of opened it to the floor. Sarah's kind of already said her initial piece on this. Whoever wants to go first on it.
Well, I'll be happy to.
I'm glad to have Jeff step up to the plate quickly.
First, I want to start out by saying this. So I think the town of Poolesville should find a place to present the pride flag, right? So you want to be very clear about that.
Up front. Yeah.
I'm not anti-pride flag. I do think the 3 poles in the front have the U.S. flag, the
Maryland.
state of Maryland flag, and the Poolesville flag. I think, and it has that commemorative stone. I think that, for me, that's kind of a, I'm going to use the word formal area, and I think that should be reserved for government flags. Now, the other thing is that, and I also believe that the U.S. flag is inclusive. I believe that. And I can understand how some folks might think it isn't. But for me, it is. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention was, I had asked a question of Wade, and Wade forwarded the question on to Jay Gullo, and Jay Gullo sent an email back, and he had kind of 3 possibilities. 2 of the possibilities have some risk associated with it, some unknown risk, right? The third possibility, which, everybody got the email, says no risk approach is only flying those government flags that you mentioned, which are U.S., state, and Poolesville, and not deviating from that. So my 2 cents, and open to discussion, my 2 cents is the flag policy that governs the use of the flags in front here by Wayland Commons, I think should be the U.S. flag, the Maryland flag, possibly the Montgomery County flag, but I'm not sure if that's the thing or not, and the Poolesville flag. Now, I also want to say a 4th thing, and that is, and I don't exactly know how to suggest it or where to suggest it, but I think we should find a spot that has the maybe the pride flag, and maybe there's other.
And other flags, too.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Martin.
POWMIA and.
Exactly, on some spot, and I don't know where that might be, so that the town respects these other organizations and doesn't just, like, push it away. So, yeah, I can talk for, and help clarify any of those
No, I think you hit it.
random
I'll
messages.
go next.
Yeah, thank you for that, Jeff. That's good. Martin, contrasting opinion?
No, not really. I mean, I can tell the writings on the wall that people are uncomfortable with putting the flag on one of the 3 flag poles, and that's fine with me. Like, we don't have to do this all at once or whatever. I like Jeff's idea of putting it somewhere, a pride flag, a POWMIA flag, Black History Month flag, whatever flags that we deem appropriate. And I prefer it wasn't some afterthought, like putting it in the back room or something like that. I don't know whether it's one of my original thoughts was we put them along Fisher Avenue, like they do the American flags, 4th of July, something like that. Even if it's just a small section of Fisher Avenue, like along the Commons or something like that. Or maybe you put a flagpole up out here. Jim mentioned the band shell. That's not a bad idea. So I'm okay with a lesser version of it, but I do think we need to adopt this policy wherever the flag goes. I think we have to cover our own whats, and I think I like the way the policy was written. Wade, thank you, and Niles, and then the commissioners have to vote on each flag, and there's a good method to it, and so.
I would say that, just to clarify, I'm not trying to steal your space here, but I think the plan was we would individually be voting on flags, but it would be approving, to me, as a group, if there was something that needed to be substituted out or substituted in. And I also would have concerns about, we have to watch this a little bit because we have elections every 2 years. So we have to have kind of a time frame that would make sense for what are so that the policies have like long-term, effect. It's not going to be, I don't want to get into like every single election group that there's a new group of commissioners that can change this or do something different. I'd love to have continuity and establish a policy that carries us into the future for some time period. So I get what you're saying. And it would be up to town staff to, I think, do the research on the appropriate groups that would be under consideration. And then that would be something that would be presented to the commissioners in draft form, probably over a 2-meeting period. One to be, our traditional new business and old business, so that we could have proper conversation in public about which flags would be adopted under what month. So I'm just me addressing the policy right now. What else did you have, Martin? I don't want to.
That's all I got. No, we're good.
Yeah, Ed, what are you thinking?
So, two things. One is, I agree with Jeff about the 3 flags. I also think, though, that any commemorative flag, the issue is strong enough that it stands by itself. And I think being able to have a flag that stands by itself to support the strength of that issue, so it's not underneath anything, but it stands alone as its own strong indicator. And then, so that's where I stand. I think we have to talk about what would be the best location for visibility, for respect, as well as making sure that any flag is not vandalized.
Yep.
Those are the things that I think about. So the flag is high enough where it's not easy for people to come out and vandalize the flag. Is in a visible place, so if anyone tried to vandalize it, hopefully someone could see that. And I think allowing the flag to stand alone, to me, it will represent the strength of it within itself. The second piece, though, from the policy, I would like to see a little bit more criteria that governs how that decision is made, because any group of commissioners, you have a whole new group of commissioners, and so if the flags displays are authorized by the commissioners, what criteria will the commissioners use? What are those guidelines that would be used by us and future commissioners so that it doesn't lose the spirit at which it was developed? And so, because there's a flag, a commemorative flag for all kinds of things and although it says that it wouldn't be a third party, it would be something that the commissioner brings forward. You can have a third party who talks to a commissioner and say, hey, Ed, we want you to bring forward a flag for Black Lives Matter, or a flag for Black History, or a flag for this, or a flag for something else. But I think whatever we use, there should be some type of criteria that includes it not being offensive to folks. So you have to give it some thought. But that's just where I stand, is make sure that whatever we put in place, we have language to support how decisions are made, so it's very transparent and that we're able to protect ourselves, because I would not be surprised if, hypothetically, you have a new commissioner, and a new commissioner might have thinking that's different than we've been doing great working together, but there might be someone that comes on board who might not see it the same way and want to introduce something that might cause unnecessary chaos in the town.
That's why you have a vote, though.
Yeah,
And if they wouldn't be able to make that change.
I wanted to, are we finished? I didn't want to.
I'm done, yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things that you said, well, I should have mentioned this on my notes here, but I was uncomfortable with the part in the policy that indicated to me that it would be brought forward by a commissioner. I was thinking it should be brought forward by the organization that the flag represents, and I'm going to tell you why. Because let's say, I'll just make up something crazy. Let's say the Satan sewing bee quilt, the quilting bee of Satan comes to me and says, we want to fly our flag during a certain length of time. My reaction would be, no, go away. But then that hurts the town, right? Because I would be a commissioner just deciding on my own, which isn't correct. But I knew I would presume that when I presented this to the commissioners, they're going to say, what are you, nuts? And they would, all vote no. So I was uncomfortable with that. I thought that it would be more, I just don't want to say easy on the commissioners, but maybe a better idea that an organization that flag that represents that organization, they come and make a request.
The way I read the policy is staff would say, here's the list of flags that we propose that you vote on.
Yeah.
And A, B, C, and D, and you voted on those. And if a commissioner wanted to have something else, another flag, they would take it to staff, and then there'd be like a discussion and a formal vote and all that. It wouldn't just be like you wouldn't be able to, I don't think it would be appropriate to like just tell somebody no.
Exactly, yeah.
I think it would have to be a thing that, you know, like if they went to staff with it and staff said this isn't appropriate, it doesn't fit the guidelines of our thing. If it did fit the guidelines, then it comes to the board for a vote. That's how I interpret it. Am I right?
And you are correct. So let me just fill in the blanks there a little bit. So having a third party come forward like that is exactly why Boston got sued. They allowed groups to come in, and you can say yes to one group and no to another group. That opens yourself for a lawsuit right there. That's why no groups are allowed to come in and solicit for a flag to go up.
So they have to come to an individual commissioner first?
They would have to, or it'd have to be something the commissioners already, they could write letters to commissioners can bring it in to the rest of the body, but you do not accept applications or requests from outside groups.
Yeah,
And that's the line you can't cross.
Well, how about this? Would you be comfortable with town staff then on a yearly basis looks at what's out there and does, I guess, I wouldn't call it an investigation, but does their research to have groups of flags that are presented for the commissioner's approval? The advocacy not needed, they can stay on top of trends.
And we can, but, so, the part about a commissioner being able to bring them forward is because staff makes mistakes too and can have oversight and miss out, important things that, that we don't know about. So, and that was kind of left open for you guys to make the decision.
So it would be the policy, or some amendment of this policy would be that town staff would do the research, commissioners would be allowed to make a suggestion to add to the mix for town staff to prepare and evaluate.
Well, that's kind of written in that the fourth section under unscheduled displays.
Yes.
And so that part that says, in addition to annual consideration, a Poolesville commissioner may at any time during the year suggest a display of additional flags meeting the criteria of this policy. So the commissioner will consider the request in a public meeting. And so that we might tighten that sentence up, where it says the commissioner will consider the request in a public meeting. The commissioner, so the way I'm reading it, and I just want to make sure I'm in the right interpretation of the spirit at which it was written, is that one commissioner might bring it up during an unscheduled display, and then we go through and talk it through, and then the majority of the pools of commissioners must vote affirmatively to approve it. Am I reading it right?
That's correct. And let's take Ukraine, for example. When it was invaded, there were some discussions about flying a Ukraine flag from a former time period in support. Now, that's a prime example right there. Something that was off the cuff that just came out of nowhere. I mean, there's probably, you could think of other things also, but I know we had talked about that actually when the war started.
And so then that goes back to my other point, is making sure we're really tight on the criteria that we use to guide our decision. I mean, at some point we have to make decisions, but I think if we have at least some type of criteria that guides our thinking and discussions so that we can make fair decisions.
Town staff, yeah.
I also wanted to mention that, this is kind of rewinding a little bit, in terms of a potential location. And I mentioned that I thought the three flags out by the front and the commemorative rock with the plaque on it is kind of a formal location. And I was thinking that the band shell is a less formal location. Obviously, it's still on town property. And you have the possibility of having a flagpole like this, which is just vertical. And then, if the wind is blowing, you can't really tell what it is. Or a flag like that, which is more up above you. It's not a flag, but it's a quilt, which is more horizontal and doesn't require the wind to blow it and display it and stuff. So, and I didn't really think too much further about locations because, then you're not talking about town property anymore. You're talking about a flagpole, which is owned by the telephone pole, which is owned by the utility company.
Everybody, I appreciate all the dialogue, and again, hats off to Sarah for bringing this up in a very civil and thoughtful way. And I just want to kick in a couple factors, and I want the dialogue to continue to a couple things that I don't think we mentioned. and I was talking to Martin about this right before, I did suggest the band shell because while Jeff, I believe, is correct, and I side with him on this, that the center area is kind of our official government spot in my mind, the flagpoles, as well as the area honoring our military personnel. I'd like the idea of the band shell because the band shell to me represents community. And it represents where all people go and look to the band shell. And that's where we don't necessarily have, we've never held, in my mind, maybe we have, and I can't remember it, but it held any sort of a government official business out there on that band shell. That's where people of all ages, sizes, nationalities, sexualities, everyone meets there at the band shell and looks to the band shell for its source of community. So that's why that was my one suggestion for that. And I don't want town staff. You don't have to comment on this just yet. But I realize that there are logistic issues with putting a flag and having it be mounted in a place that's vandalism, avoidant, and having places that it has to work for our town staff to be able to both mount it and maintain it. So I'll come back to you on that. I think that anything we talk about in terms of flags or commemoration or cause-related issues, that no matter what we do, when we do come up with a policy that involves 12 months, that we make sure that we have a meeting that kicks off every meeting that we have a new flag, that there is a commemorative scenario that takes place, whether it's being brought in by supporters of the flag or it's through the commissioner's desk, through my desk, through one of the commissioner members, that we don't just go get into, okay, it's another month, it's another flag. We have to have recognition, just like we did for Black History Month. I think that it's hollow if we don't do it with, we back it up with words and people, because that's one of the reasons why we're doing it. So I want to make sure that no matter what we do, that having our meetings have a structure to them that support whatever the flag is. I think that's the way we get the message across in a good way. It definitely promotes inclusiveness. Jay's advice. Everybody read that, right? So Jay gets paid to tell us how to keep us out of trouble. And while I do appreciate Jay's advice on a regular basis, and I thank him, he gave us exactly what we were looking for. I do believe that what town staff has come up with takes the cautionary nature of Jay's advice and does puts it into real terms in a way that we can handle it as a town. So I appreciate Jay doing it. We have to listen to every single word of Jay's advice all the way down the line, but we can definitely take the context of it and make it work for the town. So I wanted to say I appreciate Jay's advice on that. Big picture, I think about no matter what policy we come up to, and I think we have the framework of a good policy, the goal it has to be inclusiveness, right? This is why we're doing it. Mm-hmm. But it also can't create an avenue for divisiveness as time goes on. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that no matter what we consider, that having something that would totally defeat the purpose is if we had to revisit this regularly and have it be divisive. I mean, conversations, great. Mm-hmm. But divisiveness and especially to the harm of the goal of being inclusive, that would be a fail. So I really wanted us to be careful with that to make sure that we keep our guard up on that. And then last but not least, and this was something that we kind of talked about a little bit in our meeting today, was as part of the idea of revising a flag policy and creating a flag policy, that I would like to suggest that we put together a committee, doesn't have to be today, to revise and revitalize our Poolesville flag. So, and I would want that, whatever that committee is, that group, I would want it to be our stakeholders, I would want it to be our citizens, I would want it to be our groups. I would want people to be able to come up with something. We'll have to hire a designer, we'll have to get into making mock-ups. But I think, and it doesn't have to be something that happens right away, but I think we all realize, and we don't even have the graphic files, I don't think, for the flag as it stands currently right now. And I also think that Old Town Hall may have some representation to people that's not necessarily, doesn't scream out inclusiveness. So I'd like to have, if the commissioners were behind it, I'd like to have, or we can have, save a discussion for another day, but I'd like to think about at least that part of this flag discussion could come with redeveloping our Poolesville flag. Nobody said no yet? Okay.
Oh, I think that's,
I'm not opposed to it.
yeah.
No, I think it's a good idea. So I think let's make it some decisions on this particular piece.
That was big picture framing.
Yep.
Let's bring it back down.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, so I guess that what are those next steps then? Because there's been a discussion. Do we need to have more discussion, or do you all?
Well, how about this? Well, let's kick it back to staff for a
That's
minute.
what I was thinking.
So so if we decided to go with the band shell, Martin and I were talking about potentially other alternative locations that would still be extremely visible, inclusive, and part of our, the town's recognition and recommendation for the inclusiveness of it. Is there, town staff, I know you have worries about like where we could mount and what would be vandal-free, and how would be something, nothing's vandal-free, I know, but something.
Reduce the risk of vandalism.
Reduce the risk. What would you think about that? And I only suggested the band shell because looking at the outside of it, there are locations out there where I think a pole could be raised that would be out of reach, and that would still be a very visible, like say on the roadside of the band shell for it.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it. I just haven't looked at it yet, so we can take a look at it, for sure.
I mean, you haven't looked at it yet. I sent this over 45 minutes ago. You haven't done that yet? No, I get it. And I'm also, I'm also conscious. Go ahead. I'm also conscious, like, I'd like to have something that we can do now or close to it that makes sense. So, while keeping with the direction of the body, the general direction of the
Yeah,
body.
so what do we need to do to codify this language in the ordinance that Wade and Niles wrote? I mean,
Well, this is just a policy, so,
but do we need, like, I heard some concerns about it, like, can we iron those out now?
What, go ahead, Sarah.
Questions?
Go ahead.
Yeah, great discussion. I think in terms of criteria, I think adding the simple languages of in that very bottom section of the policy that says that these flags, are not meant to be political or religious in nature, so we can maintain that separation of religion and state, and also it's not partisan in any way, so not political. And I think you want to have good criteria, but then you also need it to still be broad enough that it can cover a range of culturally important topics. So those would be the two suggestions I would have, and then I'd be curious to know if the staff have any additional criteria that they would add to that. And then in terms of location, what's the feasibility of putting a flagpole next to where our electronic sign is so that you can have the commemorative flag there and then some type of signage that says like, happy whatever month, like celebrate Disability Awareness Month, or like, so it could have some education and context right there next to the flag.
okay, that's, having another flagpole is something we had discussed. That probably won't be able to get up very quickly, but that's certainly,
Sure.
because the other side of the sign's going to be poured here, and electric's going to be run out there shortly. That's something I can get prices on, and we can start moving forward in that direction.
It doesn't have to be lit, correct, for the non?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
But would it be,
Sarah, that's a great suggestion.
yeah, actually, I think Sarah's suggestion is super duper, because I was also thinking that in the interim, where you put a flagpole up, you could put the image, because you're gonna make a new color sign, right? You
Yes.
can make the image of the flag on the sign itself, along with what other message that might be there.
Does it have that capability?
It will, yes. Yep.
Do we insure these electronic signs?
Great question, Martin.
I'm serious, like,
Oh, you mean,
Yes, it is insured.
when by damage that you mean?
well, yeah, I mean, like, there might be a handful of people that find this offensive or whatever, and, whatever flag we put up,
Right.
so.
So you're talking about just putting the electronic image of the flag up?
Well,
or
No,
my
no.
actual flag
No, I'm
pole?
talking about Sarah's idea of having a flag pole next to an electronic sign. If they can't reach the flag on the flagpole, maybe the low hanging fruit is the sign. I'd love staff to come up with some ideas. Another, just thinking out loud, would be right out here, on the corner outside of town hall. I mean, just another thought too.
Well, what I like about Sarah's idea,
I like Sarah's
it's-
idea too.
I like the idea because sometimes there's some things that should be recognized that won't have a commemorative flag. And sometimes you're gonna have things that have multiple months. Like, you're gonna have, like May. May is, you have mental health awareness, right? You'll have, right now is Asian American
Right.
Heritage Month. So what happens when you have maybe 3 or 4 things, and you might not string up 3 or 4 flags, but if you have a flagpole with one piece that's up, but you might have something that's mentioned in the rotation of the signs, all right? And so then that way, like Juneteenth is coming up on June 19th. While you don't need a whole flag for the month of June, but it would be nice to see some recognition for Juneteenth
Right.
on the sign.
Yep.
So, yeah, so I do like that idea.
Not to get overly bureaucratic, but should the policy that we're writing here, that you're writing here, should that also apply to what goes on the sign? I mean, like, it's hard to say you can't, we have this like strict policy for a pole, but the sign is kind of like a free-for-all, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like you almost have to have it, both of them have that sort of a,
So to that point, you could have commemorative flag and electronic display policy.
yeah,
I mean, you could, I don't know if it's too much, if you could weave it or if you'd have to separate it.
yeah.
We have an electronic display policy now, and I need to
Yeah. I
bring
can
it
pull
back
up.
up. It's been a long
Yeah.
time since we looked at it, so.
Well, before we mix that piece, why don't we go ahead and bring this piece to some type of resolution unless that policy helps us with this policy?
No, actually, it's gonna muddy it.
Yeah, so let's try to keep it clear,
Yep.
Yeah.
right?
So just as a clarifying question, does that mean we would end up with a policy governing the 3 flags that are in the formal area in Wayland Commons, and a second policy governing the commemorative flagpole or the electronic image?
No.
No, we may just, I just put those as a base to be included in the flag policy in general, to say, okay, we have these 3 flags, this is their duty, this is what they do, they are governmental, bam. And just to have a section to set a base for everything, so.
So I think, so what I'm hearing now is that slight modifications to the policy that's been created. Do we have, just by taking your notes, you probably got a couple little adoptive changes there to it. And then the commissioners, since this is a policy, can agree that that the town staff will work on a couple of options for where a flag could be displayed, and a change in the minor modifications to the policy. We're not going to be talking about what the sign policy, but we are going to talk about establishing a place where commemorative flags can be flown. And you'll have a chance to look at it and decide where that should be or how that can be.
Yes, I'd look at where utilities are located, what the base has to be, yeah, just to, yeah. Logistics.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and the consensus is that we will develop this policy, and this is something that we can move forward with.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll just go back, as we look at that criteria, and then as you come up with it, maybe even run it by Jay, but just have something that has enough flexibility, that we're not boxed in, but at least there are clear guidelines that we use to shape our decision-making.
And to be clear, we can change this at any time. I mean,
That's,
like,
that is
Yeah,
the
with
whole
anything.
thing,
If
if
exactly.
there's something that comes along and we like miss something or whatever, like, we
It's like chickens,
yeah,
right?
chickens,
Like
yeah.
you come back and go from an 8-piece to a 10-piece.
Just when we thought it's over with, it comes
Got to
back.
get one more in.
Yeah, I do love the idea of at least exploring the idea of putting something by the sign, because having it be broadly displayed while not running in contrast or interference to our specific government flags. I think that's a great idea. So wherever that is, and that's something that we can let town staff come up with some ideas and then put it in front of us. That doesn't help us for, let's go back to the initial stoker of the fire, the pride flag. That doesn't really
Well-
help us for that. How do we stand for that then?
As far as I'm concerned, I mean, like, it doesn't make much sense to rush something through and not do it right. But if,
Yeah.
if Wade gets the information we need, the next meeting is June 2nd,
June
third.
3rd.
Yeah.
and it wouldn't kill us to put it up June 4th or 5th or 6th or 15th or whatever, like, you can still, I mean,
Right.
it's still a good thought. I'd rather do that than like, try to patch something together now and just do
Right.
it sloppy.
I agree with that.
But it would be nice to try to do something in June if we can.
I mean, I'd still like to
When is
do at
the
least
sign gonna be
the
ready?
proclamation part on June 3rd at our first meeting.
Okay.
I think that's
Well,
important.
why don't we do the proclamation on June 3rd? And that's not there's no legal issues there, right? Like for the proclamation, okay. Why don't we do the proclamation and talk, and then we can vote on,
If there's something to vote on.
yeah, like.
Yeah,
it was-
is there a potential temporary, like, for example, is there a fourth standing flagpole, like the three that we have in the back of the town hall right now, where on the other side of the TV, we could hang a pride flag while we have the proclamation, and like once we've passed this?
You're talking about the one, like, right next to us, right here, behind the
over there,
desk?
the
Yeah,
other side
but
of
like on
TV.
the other side, like behind Martin.
I'm not opposed to anything like that while this
And
kind of
then maybe
evolves.
put that out in like town, like put it out in the center of, like in front of where the staff offices are, like essentially like have something at town hall.
Oh,
It
inside
won't be like,
the lobby? So you're thinking about something
yeah,
inside
but
the lobby?
there.
Well, maybe an electronic image on the news electric sign.
If
That might
it's
not
up-
be here for a while,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Not there yet? Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah, but I think
All right.
the power symbolically of having it up in town hall, even if it's not broadly public at that point, because we're still working on the permanent location, I still think would be powerful.
Well, in the meantime, I think Jerry has that flagpole at his house, don't you, Jerry?
Yeah, I do. Two most important flags, United States Navy and the American flag.
Yeah,
Not the Marines.
throw-
All right,
yeah, throw it.
There's an Air Force.
that's funny.
Navy's the best
Got
pilots.
aircraft carriers, they fly aircraft.
Martin, you opened up a can of worms.
Now, yeah. He's keeping it friendly,
Okay,
that's,
so
Let's
if
just-
I'm understanding correctly, like when we next meet, staff will present us with a couple options of where a potential flagpole could go and the costs associated with that, and a revised policy that Jay will have vetted in theory and that we can talk about and read beforehand and hopefully vote on. Okay.
and I think we can all agree, even though we're gonna have a list that gets developed over a period of time, that the pride flag will definitely be on that list. So I think
I'm
that's-
good with that.
I think that's easy for us to
Yeah, I mean,
embrace.
that's easy.
And then we can,
Yeah.
and then we
There are a
can
couple
work
of
on.
things we could probably nail off right away.
Right.
There is.
Yeah, Black History Month.
Yeah, yeah. So that's good. So that's a consensus out of that. So we have a direction.
Got
Good deal.
All right,
Thank-
so
Thanks, Sarah. Yes, go ahead.
since we've cleared up the commemorative flag, I would just say, so at our June 3rd meeting, in addition to a proclamation, maybe we could have some words spoken and honoring the Pride Month. And then I would request on the June 17th meeting, we're able to have some recognition or words spoken about Juneteenth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. So, commissioners, I'll reach out to everybody offline here, and then we'll see who we can develop, how the presentations will come together, and then we'll go from there.
But I think the other idea was to form a committee
Poolesville.
to potentially update the town of Poolesville flag.
We can do that, but I'd rather, let's get the policy, this one down, and then, but the only reason I brought it up was I wasn't it's like not throwing a bone out there and trying to get it done, but I do think in parallel to revising our flag policy that we do look at it, because we have the opportunity to potentially make the Poolesville flag a flag that stands for the next 100 years, including the notes of inclusiveness to make it a better,
Yeah.
to represent who we are these days. So
Jim's practicing his farming skills. He planted the seed.
I have planted the seed, right? It wasn't meant to mollify either. It was to be brought up in
good-
conjunction.
it's a
New
good
Poolesville
one.
flag cannot say anything about buy with me and use my truck for free.
All right, what else you got, Jim?
Hey, what's wrong with that? Modification of that coming up. All right, guys, thank you for that, everybody. Good, we have, town staff's got direction, more direction, appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for your contribution on that. All right, town managers report.
Tell them about your sign.
Oh, yes. So as we were just talking about, the electronic sign is on its way. They're supposed to pour the footers this week. I had an email with them, just finalizing some of the details. And then from there, it will probably take another week or two. Because they, as I think I'd mentioned to you before, they're made to order signs. So they're in the process in Indiana, I think. They're manufacturing it. So yeah, that's the update there.
Every one of these projects we're going to talk about are just in a slow motion moving. Talk about the water tank. Anticipated completion date of June 7th. So it may not be this great unveiling because they are going to drop the top, but they're also going to be still working up there and have their equipment on it because they're going to raise the tower that holds all the antennas to the very top, and they have to weld it on top, and they have to repaint that. Then they have a big crane in place moving all the antennas over. So it's not going to be like this great big, hey, look at your new house. Okay. All right, just want to make that
Understood.
clear. And weather changes everything, so. But we're just
We're
moving.
still going to talk when it gets close. I may still have some people gathered out there to commemorate it. So just
A
FYI.
candlelight
sneak
vigil,
peek
do it
first.
at nighttime,
Yeah.
sunset.
Yeah, let me eyeball it before we do that. But that's, I trust it's going to be fine. Keep moving.
Okay, streetscape. We almost forgot we have that. So I just received an email finally today because I've been pinging them. And she said this is from the state. We are currently seeking federal authorization for the Fisher Avenue. Once we receive the final approval, and this is for all the negotiating we had to do with the design group, then they will issue the notice to proceed. Should happen within a week, and I'll have some feedback from the Federal Highway and give you the next steps. So hopefully they start rolling on this.
To commemorate the loss of David Trone in election, they're deciding to, they waited a week till afterwards to give us what he had promised
Sneak
us.
a plaque in there somewhere.
Somewhere, right. We have to.
And then skate park, so, we have expansion of the skate park, we received the grant monies for that. Contractor's ready to move forward. It's the county holding us up on the stormwater management stuff that we have to do because of the created impervious areas that we're creating, so,
The skate park, that's the expansion of the skate park? Okay.
yep.
Yep.
So that should
Does
be-
that include the resurfacing?
No, we're not resurfacing
bowl?
what's existing.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
Plenty of paint on there now, keeps it smooth. And John, when's that gonna happen from the county?
It should be another couple of weeks before we get our comments back. and see what- see
All
what
right,
they
so by June 17th, maybe I'll have an answer for you.
Okay.
Any questions from us? That's all I have. The guys mowing like crazy right now, and staff's just doing everything they do to keep things going.
I'm staring at you, but I'm looking at John. Sidewalk at West Willard.
We are waiting, so we have all our prices in, and we are waiting for the return of the agreement with the landowner.
But the landowner did have an agreement submitted to them
Oh, yes, I had a good
that's been
conversation.
vetted out. And did we determine who the landowner was?
Yes,
Was it who we thought it was?
yes,
Wonder why we thought it wasn't. That was weird.
I know.
But you guys sorted that out? Okay, good. All right, that's good news. Maybe by the end of the school year?
Well,
I'm kidding.
I impressed the
talking about-
importance of having it done in a small window of time before school starts back, grain operations are going on and everything. So, yeah.
Right. I meant to say the start of the school year, before the start of the school year. Okay, good. Thank you. That's not what I said, but I know that now I'm changing my mind. All right, go ahead. Just stop. John, I'm not looking. All right, you guys, questions for the guys here.
Was there any, and you brought up the high school, so I can't help, but every time I drive by there, I noticed Poolesville High School,
Yeah.
and then the L is like right up against, it's jammed right up against the security camera, and it looks like school, because the L is hidden by the security camera.
I don't think,
Yeah.
Can that be centered? I mean, it was like jammed up against.
We've-
We
we've
were
at-
talking about redoing it.
yeah, we,
Is that what
yeah,
it
that, the day when we were doing the clap in, they knew it was not good.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not sure. Link, have you anything new on that?
That very morning, the principal said they were gonna look into getting that changed.
Yeah.
The guy that's the actual contractor was there and he said
Yeah.
they will do it, so it'll happen. I don't-
Yeah.
Do they need a
Not top
reminder?
priority.
What's that?
Do they need a reminder? 'Cause I see it every day too.
Anybody want to make propose a resolution?
Yeah, I propose, Link, you can make a call over there.
I second that. Yeah, okay,
Nate, are you
good.
done?
I'm finished.
All right, I make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, second is motion.
Motion made by Martin the motioner, second by Ed the seconder. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thanks, Sarah. We are adjourned.
All right, hey, Link.
All right.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Sarah, thank you.
Sarah.
Sarah, where are you in West Virginia?
No, it isn't.
I'm in Thomas, West Virginia.
Where?
Dane Valley.
Thomas?
Okay, very good. I used to know the tourism director for that whole area. And,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and they're very snow reliant. That's where they, when they have snow, everything's clicking out there.
Oh, I know.
But it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
no, they're doing a great job. Even in the springtime, they have a whole bunch of like art festivals going on right now.
It's up now.
Yeah,
Beautiful hiking at some of the surrounding state parks. It's lovely.
yeah, it's a beautiful area, and I think they do have it together out there. So,
Which is state code, Joe?
I'm actually staying at a tiny home,
Okay.
and
Oh, yes,
I would
yeah.
love to see something like this. They're just these tiny little, I don't know, boxes, but they're just perfect.
Is there really an Air Force?
Nice.
There's this other thing.
cool, good. All right, send some pictures.
Yeah.
Trump invented it, so it's gotta be
I
good.
found-
Okay. All right, thanks again
All
for
right.
tonight. Appreciate it. Yep, see you later.
Their uniforms, like,
It was. We got there. Yeah. Yeah, and I like, hey, we did it in public too.
William Roberts was good. We're getting her right, and he knows her too, and he said he's gonna reach out to her.
Happy with it.
Yeah, I can coordinate, I can coordinate, I'll talk to Jawando,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And see her,
He
he's
was-
my cousin.
He was,
Or-
well, clearly was flat out
Yeah,
praising her.
What?
But you
Yeah,
can't understand, so.
I'm sorry, didn't answer your email. I'm gonna look at the calendar and see.
oh, yeah, just let me know. I gotta let them know, I gotta confirm it by Friday.
I will not be there, I know that.
I think it's, hard to do it.
Yeah, I think if we do that down the road too.
And we might be able to get Hogan to bite off on it,
He might,
especially
because
if she
it's
decides she's
close.
gonna willing to do
But
it.
what I was thinking for
I
Angela,
just got 100-foot
Right,
flagpole in my
is-
yard, that kind of count as a.
we go ahead and do a meet and greet, have her come out here.
All right, y'all, have a good week.
We trying to make some new friends.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a
I
good
got a
idea.
couple of
I
No, it's-
think it,
Works all with
I think it would be
the-
an education.
yeah, it's all
Yeah,
interconnected.
I think it'd be
So it's
education.
And
for
maybe,
her.
more
and
secure
maybe if we get
From
them.
a cybersecurity perspective, and it's more integrated.
Up in 10 minutes.
So now anyone with a
We
town
just,
account can
whether it's the white paper
access
or
meetings.
something that summarizes like the talking
We get
points.
hacked.
So then when she comes up here, she's really kind of tuned up already.
We did not.
And then we
Good
can use the
idea.
time to build
It
friendships.
was related to,
These are the things we need.
no, the
You know,
contract.
not that we would do it anyway that way, but
But then, and also it's just giving her, I love that idea, but then also.
Bunch of them. It happened to a bunch of people.
opportunity to Share her
Legit was,
messaging
it happened.
out
Yeah.
here, because
Frederick got,
as you all both know, Poolesville can
Yeah.
decide
Picked on
to
this.
lose in
yeah,
this
it's
kind
probably worth
Picked on,
Yeah.
on construction
contractors that are working with
crazy?
municipalities.
Yes,
Yeah.
because they could
the
find,
balance of,
Well,
the
you know, because the
balance
state
of
publishes a list of
the
who gets all the
country
millions of dollars.
comes through Poolesville.
Well, I-
Easy target. Oh,
But
look.
it could. Because you got some folks are very firm on where
Yep.
they're gonna be
Yeah.
in different parts of Maryland. Well, Poolesville, you can have depending on how you pitch your argument,
Yeah.
you might get those extra. You think about Hogan, not Hogan, but
yep.
that county executive, Mark.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Yeah, 44 votes at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I totally agree. Isn't that crazy, Maryland?
Anyways.
This will be another crazy, freaking close election,
Yeah.
likely. But
You know.
as time turned out, and as much has been written and will be recreated about Trone's rise and fall during the election.
One that's a